Hello everybody, hope you're doing well. Welcome to the final bit of coverage, hopefully, on the Carinas Challenges situation. Now on the channel we've done a guide on one of the particular quests, which is actually really fun. I'm going to do a few more actually going forward. I don't know when, because there's a lot of things to take into consideration. And of course this particular situation comes of Winter of Woe. Kabam having a very good time with stuff. And the reason we're doing this hopefully final video, because I do want to move on and kind of work on different projects and ideas and content. But, you know, some people have said, like, Rich, this stuff here from Kabam Crashed is very important. And do you know what? It really is. This is somebody responding back as to the mindset of why they've taken stuff in a certain direction and responding back to some very important comments. It's not just about people going, oh, it's fine and we're cool with Carinas Challenges. And it's not just about people going, oh, bad Kabam. I would say evil Kabam. I would say like, yeah, the thing is, I think people kind of like, again, there's the stuff that was said about some content creators, which is just unacceptable. But of course, if you formulate a good kind of like a thesis of, or points, then it's always important to see, like, how do Kabam feel about this? Why are they answering against? What are they right? Are they wrong? There's some stuff Kabam have said I disagree with. There's some that I think, again, I agree with some of the stuff that Kabam say, but there's some that will work for you, and it's never black and white when it comes to these situations. But let's get to the point. What has Kabam Crashed said that's so important? Deacon said, it begs the question why Endgame content is so streamlined to cater for the 1% of gamers, super skilled. Necropolis, although difficult, allowed everyone in despite of skill. The fights were not cash grabs and rewarded skill versus throwing something that 100% require unit man from even the most skilled. I just don't get it, though. Ways to create difficult and make it fun. It's been done, and you think the constant community feedback and uproar will be useful for future content, but no, we keep hitting the wall. In response to some of the way that it's been theoretically put together. Not all endgame content targets the same players. It has been a long time since we created something that will truly challenge our best players in an aspirational way. And I guess that's the problem. The longer you stay away from something, maybe the more complacent the community gets. It's hard to say, but then it's like it's on to Kabam to check the pulse of the community and kind of get a figure for what's going on. Nowadays, people are looking to, make gains with, I'm not saying like very little investment, but at least from a point of view of going time. Kabam don't like the word time being associated with, resource with things. But here's the thing, like, you can't play this game all the time, all the hours of the day, grabbing units, grabbing, because Kabam will like spend for it, grab that stuff. Necropolis was done itemless within a few days, and many thousands of players done itemless. Many thousands of players have already explored it. Itemless? Personally, I'm not a master tier of Alliance Wars players, and I was able to explore it without spending a single unit. And don't get me wrong, it's an awesome piece of content, and I love it, but it's not something that created any sort of long-term challenge for our best players. But the problem is, again, we're saying best players, and again, like when this particular player is saying 1% of gamers, you're literally just kind of telling them that you're basically saying best players are the 1% of players. A few months ago, I challenged one of our content creators to complete Necropolis using only ducks. I challenged for literally a single person. We are allowed to create content that challenges our best players. So what, again, like, that's all when I get to creating that challenge. But then, Brian did spend a lot of revives on that. Yes, it was a challenge and it was interesting, but it wasn't exactly done itemless. And these challenges do that, and that's why the rewards are structured as they are. The only reward that can be considered remotely mandatory is the Deathless King Groot piece, and it should be easier to access a number of Deathless pieces that have been distributed. Everything else is there for players who want to take on the challenge. Those that want the challenge can safely skip it. Okay. I sort of agree with that point. Personally, I'm very happy there is something in game for me to work towards like this. I already have a rank 5 Zemo, so I'll be working on that challenge and mechanics as soon as possible. The other 3 I'm going to work towards. Probably will wait to pull a 7-star Jabari and dupe my 7-star Mojo. Well, that's the so that turns into a bit of an acquisition type thing, doesn't it? Like when somebody feels they have to do that. Same thing with me. I look at it and go like, I've got Mojo's a 7-star. I can't remember if I got a 7-star Jabari. I want to say no. But yeah, I wouldn't be comfortable with going there without, say, a rank 2 7-star to at least cushion the blow for my units. And as a lot of you know, if you're free to play in this game, your units have to be used in the best way possible. And you will be considering stuff like Banquet event towards the end of the year. You will be considering other things in game that give you those units, and unfortunately you'll have to be very careful as to what units you invest in what pieces of content and how detrimental it can be if you make a mistake. And look, this content is unforgiving, even more so a Winter of Woe. Once that happens, I'll take my time and spend a couple of weeks preparing Kunsun Bulls to give it a go, which, you know, we talk about on this channel, the idea like, okay, when you got a 2-week window for 14-day revive management on hoarding and farming them based on 22-hour solo events and apothecary. So that becomes a bit of an issue. And of course, you need units invested into those potion deals so you can then store in level 3 revives. And there's nothing wrong with taking time. I know that will be waiting for me when I'm ready. Unfortunately, that's, you know, if you look at the likes of Necropolis, the only way for free-to-play players at this moment in time, and that will change, to be Valiant is to 100% Necropolis. So you're kind of like, I'm not saying you're feeling forced to do it, but again, if you want to make gains within that point of kind of going from Paragon to Valiant, which is the chase titleage at the moment, you do feel compelled to go in that particular direction. But look, we'll come back to that particular point in a minute. Actually, I think there's further on this one. Okay, yeah, there's a further point on this one. It's sad to see Kabam employees sticking fingers into their ears with these incredibly defensive responses. It's evident from each of Mike, Crash, and Jack's comments that they aren't interested in feedback from players about these challenges. I was going to come and offer some thoughts on why, as one of those players, arguably that these challenges were designed for. These challenges missed the mark, but I'm not going to waste time giving constructive criticism to willfully death audiences. So good luck, I guess. Hope you guys are happy with how this turns out. This simply isn't true. If I didn't care about player feedback, I wouldn't be reading through 200 plus post threads at 10 p.m. I'm not being defensive. I'm simply stating how we see these challenges and their place in the game. We take feedback seriously, and actually earlier today changed the design for an upcoming piece of content based on this feedback. However, we aren't just going to damn, that's a really good word and I can't say it. Acquiesce to everything that players tell us they want, because quite frankly this game wouldn't still exist if we did that. Our job is to find the right balance for a long-term health of the game, and I promise you that is what we are all trying to do. Well, the game's been running 10 years, and the thing is, the game's been running 10 years, and obviously doesn't really take that particular statement. It doesn't take into effect like 12.0. Kabam have always tried to go in a certain direction with the game that is a bit ridiculous. As much as they want to cater for a certain percentile of the game, there's also the kind of the percentile that, you know, want to see this as a collecting fun game. I mean, I'm sort of there, but I'm sort of in the middle. You know, I'm getting older, so my reactions are not particularly there as they used to be. But and maybe again, it's like this thing with the game, like, you know, it comes to a point where, you know, should I be thinking about playing something else as a main game, especially for this channel? But for the time being, I still love the game. Like, the things I loved about the game are still very much there within the game pattern as of now. It's just a case of finding something that's kind of that's fair. But I think that kind of fair element to this game has sort of gone away, and that kind of skill, competitive, and kind of stressful nature to it has kind of creeped back in for 2024. That wasn't as prevalent there in 2023, apart from Necropolis, and 2022. It's kind of like very much kind of in this, you know, oh, you've got to do this, you've got to grind this, you've got to go in this direction, do that. It's kind of like, it's a bit of a tough one, isn't it? I do get where Kabam are coming from, but I don't know where this particular mantra, this kind of like pitch of the future has come from? Is this something that Netmarble is kind of kind of instilled? But then it's always been this kind of blueprint in Kabam, 12.0, Act 6, Act 6.2, Act 6.3, 6.4. And then it's a case of then Kabam change things. And I don't know if this is something in Kabam that they create things too difficult first and then kind of backtrack on it. And it's like, I'm not saying damage has been done, but it's like it just becomes a big PR spin to go like, okay, well, everyone's on the forums in February kind of like bringing vibes and chat to the game. It then gets people talking. Kabam then changed something. Yeah, sometimes I kind of feel that this is a little bit of a tinfoil hat. Me would say, is this a PR job in some kind of way to get like the game kind of like, as I said in a previous video yesterday, like, you know, Google trending, you know, it's then it does stuff for the algorithm on YouTube, it then does the algorithm for forums, like it's, you know what I mean. I think a lot of you know what I mean with that one. But look, that's where Kabam's kind of like headspace at with kind of creating content, and that it won't stop. Like next year we'll probably be having exactly the same conversation on the matter. But look, there's some interesting conversations to be had about things like 7-star champion selector questions. Is this going to be the only way to get a 7-star Massacre, Spider-Man Stuck, and Spider-Man at 2099? Will they make it a basic pool in the near future? I assume eventually there'll be other acquisition methods, maybe Titan pools, maybe Alliance Wars incursion pools, maybe other limited pools, maybe base pool. However, there are no plans right now, and that means it won't be long. Well, likely years, and especially on the answer to. But I would like to point out that a similar statement was made about the 7-star Guardians champ. Yes, that is me. I think that was one that made the comment about the gifted Guardian, so I apologize for that. I honestly had no idea Shocker was in the Winter of Woe crystal until right now. When it comes to crystals, mostly managed 7-star pools, but yes, it is possible someone could add a champion designed to be an exclusive to some sort of event crystal without my knowledge. I can just say that the intent is that these champions will be exclusive to Carinas selector for a significant period of time. Interesting. But yeah, on this situation, the kind of situation around the Carinas Challenges is still something that I don't know where this year started and where it's going, especially from a point of view of the rest of the year. As I said, we've been here before. We'll be here next year. We're having the same discussion, several years ago. Nearly 10 years, not 10 years ago, probably 8 years ago, 12.0 situation, where champions that were quite god tier were then nerfed into oblivion because Kabam made some specific changes. The same way that we were in the same situation with Act 6 needing to be nerfed. And I think there was the burnt out and bored stage of 2020. There was also a few other kind of instances where Kabam have kind of like overstepped the mark with how they built the content. But this is, as I said, it's a scary time right now with what they've done. But the positive, and this is the thing, we need to kind of like point out the positives where they are from Kabam, and that is to improve things. And they did say that they would be making some changes. I actually lost that thread with it. Anyway, it's somewhere. But look, positives are Kabam did say they were going to be making some changes. Kabam Crashed did say, I just wanted to thank you and everyone in the community who has provided detailed feedback like this. It's too late to make changes to these challenges. Doing so at this point would be more work than creating new ones. But I want to say I really appreciate the response, and again reiterate that we are absolutely paying attention to the feedback and the feedback we are receiving. So yeah, they did say they were going to make some changes. There are some things that Kabam have made. Of course, worrying times ahead if more changes and things kind of happen. You're like, oh dear, I don't know where this is taking the game. It's 10 years this game has been kind of like going. Obviously, I'd love to say that we're still here in 10 more years. 2034 still playing Marvel Contest of Champions, which I'm sure people find ridiculous. And Kabam have got to be very careful as well with the release of something like GTA 6 next year. All eyes are going to be on that game, and how you look after the majority of the community is also going to be incredibly important, as well as the best players, the 1%, and those things as well. So you've really got to check the room. It's all about checking the room, isn't it, before making this particular content. But there we go. What are your thoughts on the Carinas Challenges situation? Are you happy with Kabam's responses on this? Some good, some bad, some level-headed, some not. Whether it's from Kabam employees, content creators, which obviously I fall into that camp, and as well, the community at large. What's everyone's thoughts? Put it in the comments section. Check out some of the threads in the link in the description. That's been a video. Have a lovely Tuesday. Wrong thing. There we go. Tuesday. I'll see you all soon. Much love and goodbye for now.